I'm Steph Hodge with BoardGameGeek, and I am here with Lee from Dragon Dawn Productions, and we get to look at Dwarf today. Now, tell me a little bit about this. It's a game you designed, right, Lee?
It is, yeah. It's a tactical worker placement game. It's very quick. Plays in sort of 20 to 40 minutes for 1 to 3 players, or up to 5 if you combine 2 copies of the game.
Nice.
Yeah.
Where did you get this inspiration for this game? I see that in BGG it came out in like 2017. So is it getting reissued?
So it was published in 2017 as a print and play game on BGG. It then went to Kickstarter last year and has just come out as the proper box.
Excellent. And so why did you think of Dwarf as an inspiration for your game?
So I like to play a lot of solo games as well as playing with other people. And it was the eve of the solo print and play games and design contest on BGG, I guess 4 years ago now. And I've just been playing Caverna, which I really like as a game. But one of the things, I'm a big Uwe Rosenberg fan. One of the things that I've always not enjoyed quite so much about that is, to me, there's a bit of a thematic disconnect. If I want to go and be a dwarf, then farming isn't the thing that springs to mind.
It's true.
So my first inspiration was to think of a worker placement game where I could be a dwarf and do dwarfy things. The second point that I drew into it from the solo game side of it, I know a lot of people complained about Caverna as a solo game because there was a very static setup, so it was a solvable puzzle.
Sure.
And then the beat your own score thing, which again I enjoy, but a lot of people don't. So I set out to design a game that let me be a dwarf whilst doing a worker placement game, that I had an opponent to play against and had a dynamic setup. So I started putting those pieces together. Now, it sort of came together very quickly, the first draft of it. And then I played through the solo game, and it was when I did that, I thought, God, another human being could probably do this better than the AI rules, which I'm sure says a lot about me as a gamer. So it very quickly then became a multiplayer game, and that is why we ended up with this. We've got rules there for 1 player, or it can go up to 5 as well as a competitive game.
Excellent. So if I know you're going to show us on, I think you said Tabletopia or right, the full game. So give us a little bit of overview, like what we're doing and what our goal is of the game first.
Well, like I say, you're a dwarf. You're doing dwarfy things. That means you're trying to forge your reputation by mining ores and minerals, using those minerals and ores to create items. And you also have to protect the mines and protect those items and ores from enemies and monsters that are coming into the mines and trying to take them from you. And that introduces a sort of a semi-cooperative element to the game, because those monsters, if you don't defend against them, they're going to attack everybody. So there's sort of a give and take there. And it really depends on what kind of gamer you are as to how you want to approach that. I know when the first few games I played multiplayer, I played with my partner. And we're both really nice people. So we'd approach the game and just go, oh, God, this orc's going to come here and it's going to stop us mining. So I'll tell you what, I'll take care of that in this round if you do it in the next round. And I did that and she did that. And we were both happy because, like I say, we're both nice people. And then I played some games with my brother, sort of further play testing. And I said, I'll tell you what, I'll take care of this orc in this round if you do it in the next round. He said, yeah, sure. And then he didn't, because he's not a nice person.
Yeah. Right.
It really depends. There's ways you can play the game in different ways at that point. It really depends on what kind of person you are, and it obviously leads to a bit of metagaming. Of maybe you want to choose when to renege on your agreement, and other times, maybe if there's a monster there that's going to take everybody's gold, a dragon will come in and take everybody's gold, and the guy you're playing against has been hoarding gold because that's one of the things that can get you a win. And you've got no gold. Well, why do you bother?
Why do you bother?
Dragon's doing you a favor with it.
Like that. Exactly. I like that. Do you want to show us a little bit about the game?
Yeah, should we look at some of the physical components, and then I'll try and we'll try and do it through Tabletopia, which is I've only just used it for the first time. So very lucky that our artist he's done a fantastic job with what he's done. So some of the cards. Let's try and work out the light here. There we go. That's one of the enemies there. The sheath. Those are the orcs. This isn't working too well with the light here, is it?
It's pretty glary. Yeah, but if you bring it up on Tabletopia, we might be able to see some of the images a little bit more clearly.
I want to show off our nice little dwarf meeples as well.
Oh, I love him. Yeah, very cute.
And there are 2 different shapes meeples in the game, which there is a purpose behind. So let's see if we can share Tabletopia then.
Perfect.
Okay, can you see that?
Yeah.
Yeah, great.
So if you hit spacebar,
I've set this up here just for a solo game, which I say is played against an AI, and really the AI functions very similarly to a human opponent. So yeah, well, it's no different in that respect. It's just as easy to demonstrate. So the way that the cards are laid out here, the game relies on cards, but it is a board game. You don't have hands of cards or anything else. The board is made up of cards.
I see.
And you always start with these 6 cards here laid out in 9 cards, I should say, laid out in a 3x3 grid. And we've also got 3 piles of 3 extra cards down here. These are special actions that you can take during the game, just in case there's nothing up here you can do that's helpful.
Okay.
The first thing that happens in every round is you take 2 cards from this pile here.
If you just hit spacebar, it should bring it close to us so we can see it, I think.
Which, sorry?
If you just hit spacebar, I think that will just show us up. I think so.
There we go.
Yeah, there, okay.
So turning over the cards here to reveal them, you can see we've got this 9x9 grid again up in the top right of the card. So that's the first thing that we look at. And the one that's highlighted orange, that tells us where it goes on the grid.
Oh, okay.
Underneath here, there's the 3 lanterns. At the moment, all of these cards are shuffled randomly, but for less randomness in the deck, because obviously, you know, there's mining cards as enemies, there's different things in here that can come out. If you want to make sure you avoid all of one thing coming out at once, you can pre-sort the cards into 1 lantern, 2 lantern, and 3 lantern piles, and then put them into one pile.
Nice.
The final thing up in this top right corner is the black and white meeples, and that's purely for the solo game. This is going to govern where the AI goes. Okay. Finally, down at the bottom of the card, we've got the big pickaxe there. That tells us this is a mining action. And then it tells us the name of the card, alloy steel, and finally these symbols down here tell us what the card's doing. They look a bit obtuse, but you do get used to them, and obviously it means that the game's language neutral.
Yeah, and so in terms of alloy steel, is it color-coded? In terms of alloy steel,
we return 3 iron to the supply, and then from the supply we take 2 steel. So that's a resource conversion card, effectively.
Nice.
That all makes sense?
Yeah.
So that goes there, the bottom right of the grid, just as the orange one tells us. So then the second card we've drawn, these are enemies. And this is the orcs I was talking about before. So we've got 2 different options here. If nobody defends against the orcs, then the mining actions at the end of this round are not going to resolve.
Oh, no.
If somebody defends against it, they get to take 1 medal glory from the supply, and everybody can mine as normal. So the glory acts as a tiebreaker at the end of the game. I haven't talked about what the winning conditions are, but they act as a tiebreaker. They also act as a bit of an in-game currency during the game. So it's probably a good opportunity to talk about both how you win the game and what I mean by an in-game currency.
Sure.
So we're collecting different things through the game. We're collecting, let me just get rid of that. Collecting gold, iron, steel, items, and glory. At the end of the game, we count up how much gold we have, how much steel we have, and how many items we have. And it's like a best of 3 in that. So whoever wins the most of those 3 separate categories is the winner. If I have the most steel and the most gold, then I win. If I have the most steel, you have the most gold, but we're both tied on items, then obviously that's a tie game. So the first tie is the glory, the medals.
Yeah.
Second tiebreaker is the iron. And the third tiebreaker are the items. So there can never be a situation where there's a tied game. There's always enough tiebreakers there to make sure that that follows through. And the reason I say for that is because one of the ways to end the game is as soon as somebody forges 4 items. So that's always good. It's very rare you'll have a situation where people are tied on items for the lead on it, I should say. And the way you can use glory as a currency with these special actions cards that I was talking about. So to take them, you can either use 2 workers or 1 worker and 4 glory. So it makes taking those items cheaper.
Ah.
You still
Are they
with me?
one-shot
making this sound a lot more complicated than it is.
No. Are they like one-time ability cards, or
they're one-time ability, these cards. So I'm not going to do this, but to take a special action, I would use, as I say, either both workers or 1 worker and 4 glory. I would carry out what the special action says. So in this instance, I'd remove the top card from each spot out of that 9x9 grid and place it at the bottom of the stack. So it rolls back time. Effectively, we go back through the mines to the previous level we were at. And then once I've done that, I turn the card over. And of course, on Tabletopia, it doesn't work. But in the real game, on the other side are these iron mine cards. Again, these iron shaft cards. So they would go back into the grid and open up a new iron shaft in a place as well.
Oh, I see.
Okay.
I see. Yes.
So the first start of the round, we took out our 2 new cards to take them into the mountain. We then place our workers. The AI always goes first in the solo game. And if you remember, I was talking about the grid up here. So the black worker is the center of the grid. So the AI is going to place their first worker. If I can pick it up. There we go.
I think they're at the top of the
Onto
screen.
that card there. Okay. For my turn, I will choose to go there. In the multiplayer game, it's an A, B, B, A turn order. In the solo game, it's A, B, A, B. And the reason for that is that immediately as I've placed my card there, the AI is going to go. And again, they're going to look to that grid. So the black meeple there is where they're going to place theirs. Down on that card there. If that card was already occupied, then we'd look to the white meeple as a backup placement.
Okay. And so you have to go wherever the card says you have to go? I mean, so it looks like you're following the pattern on the card.
The AI does. So that's just in the solo game.
But when you place your blue meeple... So if we were playing just the 2 of us, you would go first or I would go first, and then you would place both your workers, and then I would place my final one. Oh. Okay, and depending on where we play...
turn order for a normal game. In the solo game, it works like this purely because that means you've got one AI worker. You never know where it's going to go. It's completely random. And the second one, you've got some control over where it goes. And that's sort of to simulate how it would be sat around a real table where, you know, an important part of any board game is trying to second guess what your opponent's going to do. So this is just to simulate that you've got one, you've got no idea, and the other one, you've got perfect knowledge.
Okay. And so if you place your worker on the orc, you are going to fight the orc in theory?
So I'll do that now. So I'll place my worker up there on the orc.
Yep.
So they're resolved in order. The defend actions, sorry, the defend cards always activate first. If nobody goes there, they're still going to activate, but I did go there.
Sure.
So in that situation, I would take my glory. There we go, it comes down there. Second actions to resolve the mining actions. So again, I've got 3 iron there.
Yep. Oh, I see. Yep. Nice.
He has also got 3 iron.
For the AI, yep.
And he gets to take 1 gold.
Now, if you didn't go to the orc space, then nobody would get anything, right?
Then nobody would get anything, exactly. So again, that's you know, this opportunity to screw over your opponent if you really don't like them, or to tactically do it if you think that, you know, they're going to miss out more than you or less than you. Yeah, that's sort of where one of the key decisions comes in the game.
And how do more cards get into play for the next round? You just always reveal 2?
You always reveal 2. So I've been there and I've defended against him, but he hasn't gone away. That orc is still there.
Oh.
So again, start of the round, we take 2 new cards. So now we've got a she in play.
Nice.
So the she, this is getting really complicated with the symbols down here, isn't it? The she, if nobody defends against the she, they're going to take 2 gold from each player, or up to 2 gold, I should say, from each player. Return that to the supply and replace the gold with iron.
Yeah.
And again, if you defend against it, you take a medal from the supply. Nothing else happens.
Okay.
And then our second card are knockers. And knockers are sort of a low-level threat in the game that are just more of a nuisance than anything else. All they're going to do is take 1 iron from us. And you've seen we've already both got 3 iron.
Right, but all of these cards are eating up our spaces.
They are eating up our spaces. They're restricting our actions, and they're going to start to dictate what we can and can't do, really.
Yeah.
So the knockers, again, that was the second card I drew. So playing the solo game, I just looked. Black Meeple is the bottom right on this alloy steel. So that's where he's going to place his first worker, if I can pick it up. There we go.
There you go.
I'm not at all bothered about the sheath because I don't have any gold.
That's true.
The knockers will take 1 of my iron, but I'll gain 2 iron or 3 iron by going to an iron seam.
Well, provided somebody goes to the orc.
Provided somebody goes and takes care of these orcs. So if I were to look around carefully, if I go up to this iron seam, that black meeple there is where these orcs are. Yes. So I've just forced the AI to go and take care of those orcs for me.
Exactly.
And I'll go and get some more iron here, just because it's easy. So these defend spots resolve first. Right. So we both lose 1 iron from the knockers because nobody defended from them.
Yeah, but you'll get a bunch, so I'm not worried. You just need to figure out how to turn that iron into steel, and then you'll be good.
That's it. That's it. The steel is a really important resource. Most of the items that you need to forge require steel and or gold. There's only 1 or 2 out of 8 that don't require steel. So trying to convert that iron into steel is crucial, as well as the fact that it's one of the 3 resources that win you the game, which iron doesn't.
Excellent.
The she is going to steal gold and turn it into iron. I don't have any gold. The AI does. So his gold is gone.
Yep.
Then finally, the one that has been defended against, these orcs.
Gets glory. The AI.
They're not going to attack, but the AI is going to take 1 glory for defending the mines from the orc raiders.
Yep.
Okay.
All right.
And then the next thing to resolve with these mining actions. So
yeah, and then you get a bunch of resources.
A dwarf there and a dwarf there, so I get to take 6 iron.
Oh, so that makes it, if you had no iron, they would attack you first, steal your iron, and then you could collect 6 iron. So you don't necessarily so that all happens first.
So this order that things are happening in is pretty important.
Timing is everything.
So,
I like it.
If I had gone to mine some gold in this turn, the Sheed wouldn't have taken it from me because they'd already resolved first before I mined it.
Yep.
Okay.
All right, why don't you join us back to the main screen, because we're just about out of time. I just want to
just about got the idea of the game, I hope, anyway.
Yeah, for sure.
Good.
So tell us, how can we acquire Dwarf?
We were very pleased to get it out of China before coronavirus hit. We got it on the train and into Europe back in, I think it was it must have been February. So it's available in Europe from some of the retailers over here. Also available directly from the Dragon Dawn store website. I believe there's copies, if they're not in America yet, they're in America very shortly. That'll be, all the usual online stores there, and obviously retailers are welcome to contact the publisher and stock it as well.
Excellent. So it sounds like it's a great solo game, a great multiplayer game as well. I mean, anything that says you are inspired by Caverna, I'm totally interested in, because I love Uber as well. So definitely be checking out Dwarf. Thank you so much, Lee, from Dragon Dawn Productions today for joining us.
Thank you for having me.